Hey fellow allergies, asthma, and eczema sufferers. My name is Jeffrey Lin. So from our personal experience, we know not all allergic reactions are obvious, meaning they're not all anaphylaxis or overreaction or hives. They seem more subtle. So in this video, I'm going to discuss when and how that could happen and how sometimes it seems like you're basically reacting to nothing, meaning you've avoided everything you thought you were allergic to and you're just having flare-ups and hives and maybe even brain fog, internal inflammation and reactions.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boy.
For those of you who don't know who I am, my story is I'm literally allergic to everything on the planet, and that shows up in my breathing. So I mentioned asthma, allergies. I'm literally allergic to everything in the environment, as well as food, other people, smells. Even my senses are hypersensitive to sound and light. So that was always difficult. I couldn't be out in the sun for most of my life. I was allergic to touching water, but I could drink water. And obviously, eczema was the most obvious, and doctors usually just saw that and didn't really address any of my other problems because I had probably the top 3 or 5 most severe eczema. Without medication, I look like a burn victim. My skin is, leaking, and there's basically no top layered skin left. It's just oozing stuff. So my IgE levels, which are the blood count for kind of like how sensitive you are to allergens and things like that. My IgE count is 24,000. And just for reference, a normal person is probably from 75 to about 100, 150. And a person with really severe allergies are from like 200 to 2,000. But to be in the 24,000 range is basically unheard of. And the laboratories actually can't test that accurately because their lab equipments are set to test for IgE level differences within like 1 point to 5 point, because everything is supposed to be under 70 or 100. Doctors have told me with the amount of IgEs I have and how reactive I am to literally everything on the planet, I should be permanently sedated. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And growing up, I knew I was allergic to almost everything, but we didn't think I was allergic to literally everything. And usually when I mention I'm allergic to everything to people just think I'm exaggerating and ask, but what really are you allergic to? What are the exceptions? Well, there are none. Everything for me is off the charts. So the 24,000 of your total IgE level, whatever the blood test shows you for the total IgE level, that's basically adding up every individual thing that you're allergic to. So every individual thing, let's say like pets or cats or a certain kind of food or milk or peanuts, each of those have IgE count, and then add up all of your IgE counts for everything that you're allergic to, that there's allergen to, and you get your total IgE count. So why didn't I know I was allergic to literally all the foods, and I was having a constant allergic reaction and flaring up and constant asthma attack and just weak and having all kinds of immune problems and having colds and just a very weak and broken kid. But it wasn't that obvious that I was allergic to everything because, again, this is what I'm trying to talk about in this video, is it's sometimes hard to tease out what exactly is causing the problems. So after 30 plus years of living with severe allergies, asthma, and eczema, I finally started to notice certain patterns of things I were allergic to that wasn't super obvious. So one of the things that makes it confusing is delayed reactions. When I finally met the right doctors that weren't focused on my eczema and started looking at my underlying allergy/immune reactions, and we did the IgE test, and that the IgE test came out to 24,000, kind of got a scale of how severe my allergic reactions were. We quantified it. So two of the things that were highest on the allergic reaction list were rice and chicken. Well, I've been eating those most of my life and never had anaphylaxis, and it wasn't obvious that I would have immediate breakout. Whereas with the shrimp and milk, that was super obvious. So avoided that. And I'm sure most of you guys are avoiding stuff that just immediately cause you discomfort or pain or puts you in the ER. But there are foods out there that have a delayed reaction. You can think of it sort of like medications. Some medications you have to take for weeks or months before it ramps up and starts to have an effect on your body. Like one of those is Cellcept that I tried before. It's immunosuppressant that takes a couple, probably I think like 2 months for it to really ramp up and get to its peak effectiveness. Well, you can think of allergens and food and chemicals and things in the air. Your body could have allergic reactions that are delayed like that, as well as some of that builds up in your body, or sometimes it's just the way your body reacts to it. So only when I stopped eating all foods for about 2 years and completely cleansed my body, because my doctors figured out that I was allergic to everything. I had to just do a pure reset. Starting from that reset and then slowly adding foods in, trialing foods, I was able to see that for a chicken, I would react 18 hours after I ate the chicken, and then that reaction will last for 2 to 3 months. So throughout that 2 to 3 months after just one bite of chicken, I'm constantly having a flare up, and that would also cause other problems because my immune system is already overactive and it'll attack other things that I'm less allergic to, and I'll have bigger flare ups. But the confusing thing also is that anything I ate after that bite of chicken, I would associate with something I was allergic to, because I didn't have a reaction immediately when I ate the chicken. And let's say 18 hours when I was starting to have the flare from the chicken, I ate something else. So I would start to associate that something else with the flare up just because of the timing. It seemed like I ate that and I started flaring up. And then for the next 2 or 3 months, I'll constantly have a flare from that one bite of chicken. And it would just be very confusing. Like, is it the weather? Am I reacting to somebody's fragrance? And it's probably a combination of all of that. But a big part of setting that whole chain of reactions off was that one bite of chicken. So look for things that you suspect that you're reacting to that might be delayed, or if you really can't tell, just do a full reset of all your environment and your food, and then start to test things. With the chicken example, it seems simple, but it actually gets really complicated the more things that you're allergic to. And so for me, since I'm allergic to weather that's a couple days away, and everything in the environment, fragrances people have on them, and food and other kinds of things, it's just really hard to have a clear reset where nothing is causing a flare up and then carrying over and muddying up the reaction. So it's hard to tell which one is coming from where. But that's basically the idea to look for, is what might be having a delayed reaction that you're associating with something else. So the second thing that could make your allergic reactions confusing or hard to track is sustained reactions. And I just mentioned that with the chicken example of, one bite of chicken will cause a reaction from 18 hours all the way out to about 2 or 3 months. So anything in between there would be really confusing, as if I ate anything else, or if I came in any contact with any other environmental allergens or chemicals or fragrances, things like that. So so overlapping allergic reactions can also kind of get out of control, because let's say, I ate chicken and now my allergic reaction goes from 0 to up here, where I'm flaring up for the next 2 to 3 months. And then I come in contact with some fragrance and that I'm allergic to, and then that's sustained over, like 2 or 3 weeks, and then that pushes my allergic reactions up even more. And so these reactions can really compound and add to one another and overwhelm the body. So it's really hard to separate these out, because again, these things just really mix into one another, and you really need a lot of discipline to fast to get rid of all the food problems, and you probably might have to fast for a couple weeks or whatever it takes to really allow the sustained reaction to calm down. And sometimes it won't, just because you're already reacting so much that you might need medication to help calm it down. So once you're able to calm it down by avoiding the allergens and maybe with some medications help, then you can slowly start to track allergens that you come in contact with, and kind of see if one thing is causing a sustained reaction. All right, the third thing that can make allergic reactions confusing and hard to associate with a specific allergen is accumulation. And I mentioned this mostly with the air purifier, HEPA filter, that kind of videos, because there are chemicals called VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, that modern construction material like carpets and paint and even treated leather in your car, that would release these chemicals called VOCs that would cause damage and reactions from you breathing it in or you coming in contact with it on the skin. And because these things are in such low amounts that you don't notice it at first, but it slowly permeates your skin, or you're breathing in a little bit at a time, and it kind of accumulates in your body. And once it hits a threshold, then your immune system goes haywire, and it's kind of hard to put the genie back in the bottle. It's kind of hard to reverse it, because all that stuff is already in your body, and your immune system already switched to a different mode. It's in attack mode now, and you can't really stop that. So just for things that are accumulating in small amounts, or even food that you're eating a little bit day by day, and you don't think that's causing a reaction because there's no immediate flare-up, you just got to be careful about that, because there are things that are probably lower on your allergic reaction scale, but it can still cause reactions that are less obvious, and you can only see that if you eat it day by day, or you're breathing it in day by day, and you're constantly having this flare up. And again, just like sustained reactions, if you keep adding it into your body every day, then your reactions go up and up and up until it's a full-blown immune breakdown, and then you can't really do anything about it at that point. Number 4, what makes allergic reactions harder to track is basically a feedback loop that's unstoppable. And I just mentioned this, where after a certain point, your reactions kind of feed off of itself, because your immune system is already in battle mode, that you can't just say, calm down. Even if you avoided all those allergens, your immune system is already kicking itself into gear and telling itself to fight anything that it comes in contact with, even if the allergens are gone. So allergic reactions can get out of control from a feedback loop is because a lot of the allergy mediators or like these chemical signals that tell the body to have flare-ups because there's allergens and something the body has to defend itself against. These mediators also trigger more mediators, so it just kind of adds onto itself. And so even if you take away the allergen itself, these chemicals, these mediators, sometimes it's the histamine that most people are familiar with. These chemicals will keep the flare-up going, and so if you get to this point, you probably really need medications to help calm the system down. And that's kind of where a lot of the confusion comes in with, oh, should I go with like a natural way of healing my allergic reactions or my eczema or my asthma, or should I go with a medication pharmaceutical approach? If you haven't if your system hasn't gone over a certain limit and it's still able to calm itself down, then sure, you can go with the natural way of just avoiding certain things or changing your diet. People ask me about changing my diet all the time. But just how severe I am, that literally doesn't work for me because, like I said, even if I completely fast, and I did for a long time, and the reactions just kept on going. The immune system reaction just doesn't stop. So under a certain level, sure, natural ways are the best, and I always tell people use the least amount of medication. And if you don't have to use it, don't use it, because medications do cause damage to your body and side effects. But if you get into this unstoppable feedback loop and it's like your flare-ups and immune reactions are just like a runaway train, it's not coming back, you can't stop it, and like for me, without like the heavy-duty immunosuppressants, if I just tried the antihistamines, nothing happens. It's like throwing a rock off a train. Like you might hear something, but it's not going to stop the train. It's not even going to cause a dent. The train's just going to run straight through that antihistamine. So that's just kind of like the level I'm at. And you really need heavy-duty medications like the immunosuppressants to calm everything down. Or the more targeted ones like xolair, that's really great for asthma and allergies, and dupixent, which is what I'm using the most for. That's for eczema, but that also calms down the amount of IgE levels, and through that it reduces asthma and also my food allergies and just allergic reactions to chemicals, environments, stuff like that. One more thing I want to caution you guys about is your allergy test isn't always accurate. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have felt that just from personal experience. And there's some reasons for that. First of all, I really don't like the skin allergy test. That works, I guess, pretty well for people with like normal allergy levels, where if you're using over-the-counter antihistamines, that works, great. That's probably you're at the very basic level of allergies, and using skin test is probably as good as anything else. But for me, I still prefer the IgE allergy test, just getting a measurement of how much IgE is in your body, and also getting an account for the individual allergens. But that really does take a lot more blood to do, because you need blood to test for each individual allergen. So let's say for me, like chicken or rice or potatoes or grape juice, any one of those required its own blood test and a vial of blood. So it takes a while. You got to be kind of selective with what you test for. But even if you have a normal IgE level, which sort of like 75 to 150, you still could have allergic reactions. And that's because if the amount of IgE isn't evenly distributed in your body, maybe like it's more concentrated in your lungs, then you might have asthma for your allergic reactions. Or if there's like overall there's a normal amount of IgEs, but all of that is concentrated in your gut, then your intestines might have flare-ups and acid reflux, inflammations in your gut. You have to know what your test is telling you. Obviously, if you have a super high IgE level like me, then you're going to have allergies. And for me, seems like it's been pretty accurate. Again, like I personally didn't know like rice and chicken were really severe allergies for me, but my IgE blood test told me that chicken and rice were as bad as shrimp and milk, which gave me the most anaphylaxis. So chicken and rice were way up here on the allergy scale, but it was just slower burning. It's the delayed reaction and the sustained reaction, whereas shrimp and milk, it was just immediate reaction. My body was just trying to get that out, and I'll go into some kind of shock and need to go to the ER. Whereas rice and chicken were hiding my body longer and just inside causing all kinds of havoc. But both of those had about the same amount of IgE levels. So IgEs so far for me personally have been quite dependable. All right, guys, again, my name is Jeffrey Lin. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button and leave comments or even send me a private message. Links are below.